Be hurricane prepared. Made possible by Olympus Insurance. On the web at olympusfl.com. Homeowners, renters, and business owners alike depend on insurance as a safety net in case of catastrophe. As we'll learn more about in this segment, insurance alone is not a substitute for preparedness and planning.
It would actually be beneficial to figure out now who you want your vendor to be it the water restoration company or the cabinet person or the roofer or the repair person. And maybe call your carrier up and ask them, are these approved vendors? If not, who do you approve of? And maybe build a relationship before a loss even happens. Because when that loss happens, you are likely to forget. And the reason you may forget is, one, it may have all been washed away, may have been destroyed, all the paperwork you kept. But more importantly, you're going to have not just looters in the area, but you're going to have all sorts of people knocking on your door, asking for business, saying they can help you better than anybody else. And you don't know these people, but you're desperate. And that's the scary part of a catastrophe. There's no reason to be desperate. If you've been prepared and you did your preparedness study before the event, there's no reason to be scared after the event. Most folks who live around the coast area kind of understand that they need flood coverage, and a lot of times it's required by the mortgage company. But you can be in these coastal counties, not be in a flood zone, a special flood hazard area is the technical term for it. And if you're not in one of those zones, then the mortgage company is not going to require flood. But most of the claims come from areas that are not special flood hazard areas. So it's very important to have flood coverage, most importantly in those coastal counties that are prone to hurricane and storms. If you're not in a flood hazard area, it's a very inexpensive coverage, great peace of mind. I know when Hurricane Wilma came to my house, I'm not in a flood zone, but the rain was a deluge, and it was the amount that it came up my driveway, and it came to within about 3 feet of my house. And luckily the rain stopped then, but if it hadn't stopped, it would have, 3 feet of water in your home, and it's not deep, but that amount of water in your home is going to, it's going to cause a lot of damage. And if you don't have the flood coverage, your homeowner's insurance is not going to cover it. It's rising water. That's what it is. It's water rising from the surface, whether it comes from rivers or lakes or retention ponds in Florida or massive amounts of rainfall. So that's all covered in your flood policy, not covered by the homeowner's policy. And it's very important to make that distinction. Again, it's a very inexpensive coverage. Then when you have an event like a large storm, you don't have to worry about is this water damage covered or not. You've got it covered. So always consult with your agent about that. Make sure you have the right amount of coverage. The basic policy covers up to $250,000 on the dwelling, on the building, $100,000 for personal property, and you can buy what they call excess flood coverage for your home and your personal property. So it's possible to get as much coverage as you need. If you have flood coverage, you're going to be able to get the repairs that you need one way or the other. Now, there may be some haggling between the flood company and the homeowner's company, maybe if you have separate carriers. By the way, Olympus offers flood and homeowners together. You get a discount for both policies. But if you have both the coverages, you don't have to worry about that. You're not going to have to worry about being denied by your homeowner's company because they can't determine the cause of loss. So again, it's just peace of mind and security for your family, especially if you live in an area like Florida, like New Orleans, that's prone to flood. And even if they hadn't had floods in years, the cost of it, if you evaluate the cost versus the coverage you get, it's just security and peace of mind for your family. And you can buy high deductibles and make it more affordable so that it's just really a catastrophe plan for you and your home. But seriously, whether you're in a special flood hazard area or whether you're not, It's so important to have the flood coverage. You don't want to be in a situation where you're not getting the immediate help you need from your homeowner's carrier because there's a question about whether it was caused by flood or wind.
Preparation is from wood products to food products to safety products. Just in case something happens, you have all three. And that's before the storm hits. Safety, safety, safety. But after the storm hits, it's still safety, safety, safety. Oftentimes you have looters. You have to be careful. People want to come in your house and you don't know who they are. You want to make sure that you have water before a storm hits because the water table might be contaminated and you will not know that. So it's best to use the water that you have until you're told otherwise. Same with food. If you don't have it, there's a lot of restaurants that will not be open that you think should be open within hundreds of miles. Money, make sure you have plenty of that. And cash would probably be even better because it seems to me that cash talks and checks don't, and neither do MasterCards. Make sure you have your car that is in a safe place and you have gas, because oftentimes you're going to have to drive miles and miles and miles to find food or to find money. Cell phones, keep them charged, keep a radio handy. These are all things that you need before the loss happens, but you definitely need them after a loss. And you need to make sure that you stay safe. Work is very important, but employers understand when you've gone through hardship, and all you have to do is communicate with them. They'll be right there on your side.
Remember to ask questions when shopping for insurance. If there's something you do not understand, ask for detailed clarification. Find out what is and is not covered by your policy. An all-risk policy will not cover flood, and you will need a separate flood policy in that case. Keep all of your important insurance documents in a safe, dry container and take them with you should you need to evacuate. Ask your agent about predetermined vendors such as water damage experts and roofing companies. This will help to reduce the possibility of unscrupulous or unfamiliar contractors knocking on your door.